ओ मणिपद्म हूँ। ओ मणिपद्म हूँ।
Welcome to another episode of the From the Pure Land podcast. I'm Mel Pine. The title of this one is Using Buddhist Wisdom to Get Over AI Anxiety. It takes equanimity to cope with impermanence. Most of us have witnessed in person or by video how some monks work for days or weeks to create detailed mandalas from colored sand and then sweep them away. They're demonstrating, for their own practice and for ours, the concept of impermanence. If you've seen the sand-mandala practice on YouTube, you've benefited from the impermanence of technology. More than 200 years ago, even still photography didn't exist, let alone the ability to stream videos to our smartwatches. Artificial intelligence is a brush sweeping through our comfort level with technologies. Chatbots writing college essays, images and videos so realistic the average watcher can't tell they're fake. AI voices that sound exactly like your favorite celebrity. I've even created a clone of my voice that's pretty close to the real thing. You're hearing it if you're listening to this post. A fundamental tenet of Buddhism is impermanence. Everything with a beginning will change and cease to exist. A core characteristic aspired to in Buddhism is equanimity, maintaining an inner calm whatever comes your way, not letting extreme emotions take over. We'll use history as well as Buddhism to consider AI. Here's a reminder that's grossly overused, but I'll use it again. In the 1450s, when Johannes Gutenberg had just invented the printing press, people educated enough to understand what had happened were freaking out. Monks who'd spent their entire lives hand-copying manuscripts suddenly worried about their purpose. Religious authorities panicked about losing control over information. Scholars fretted that if books became too common, people would stop memorizing things and become intellectually lazy. Sound familiar? Some critics claimed that printed books would confuse and overwhelm people with too much information. Sound familiar? Some worried that easy access to books would lead to dangerous ideas spreading like wildfire. Sound familiar? They weren't entirely wrong, just as today's critics aren't entirely wrong. The printing press democratized knowledge, fueled the Protestant Reformation, and fundamentally reshaped society. It will take decades for AI's impact to begin to be understood. Some industries will disappear. Even commercial typesetting aged and died as computerized photo offset printing took over. We can use our talents to preserve one stream or another of human creativity. But equanimity tells us, it's here. Get used to it. Fighting against impermanence, Buddhism teaches, is like trying to hold water in your fist. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it escapes. The suffering comes not from change itself, but from our desperate attempts to stop it. When cameras were invented, portrait painters thought they were doomed. But painting evolved. Freed from the burden of realistic representation, artists explored impressionism, expressionism, abstract art. The camera helped lead to new forms of creativity, which exemplifies another core teaching causes and conditions. In our equanimity, we still understand that causes and conditions don't lead only to outcomes we prefer and consider healthy for the world. AI voices and images raise real concerns. Deepfakes can be used for harassment or disinformation. AI art might impact illustrators' livelihoods. Some beings will feel the arrow of pain because of AI. That arrow can't be avoided. Fretting over the existence of AI adds a second arrow that diverts us from channeling the first arrow toward the outcomes we prefer. We can use AI to enhance human creativity rather than replace it. We can develop authentication systems to verify real content. We can create new norms and laws around consent and AI-generated content. We can adapt our education systems to teach critical thinking about digital media. These solutions aren't perfect, but like everything else, they're impermanent. They can change for the better. We'll adapt to AI the same way humans have adapted before, gradually, imperfectly, and together. First, we need to acknowledge the discomfort. Change is hard, and it's okay to feel unsettled. Awareness practice teaches us to feel the anxiety about AI, notice it, and let it go. Second, we stay curious rather than fearful. When you encounter an AI-generated image or voice, ask questions. How is it made? What's it being used for? What possibilities does it open? What problems might it create? Curiosity dissolves fear. Third, we focus on what persists through change. Technologies shift, but human needs remain remarkably constant. We still crave connection, meaning, beauty, and understanding. AI changes how we might fulfill these needs, but it doesn't eliminate them. Finally, we remember that we're not passive victims of change. We're active participants in shaping it. The printing press didn't determine how society would change. People did, through the choices they made about how to use it. The same is true for AI and for social media, but we'll leave that for another day. We're already adapting. Every time someone uses AI to translate a language, enhance a photo, or draft an email, they're participating in the great adaptation. It's happening whether we acknowledge it or not. The question isn't whether we'll adapt to AI. We will, because we have to. The question is whether we'll do it consciously, thoughtfully, and with wisdom. If you've read many of my blog posts, you'll know that I've been enthusiastically grappling with ways to learn about AI and ways to adapt it for my mission, spreading whatever wisdom I can offer to help relieve suffering. That led to this post, which I offer as an example of putting AI to work for me, not to replace me. I gave Claude Opus 4.1 an assignment, as I might have given a human research assistant in the days when I had one. I told it to research and write an informal essay of not more than 1,200 words using Buddhist concepts like impermanence to help people put in a historic context their worries about AI. That took Claude a minute or two. It would have taken a human researcher a day or two. Then I did what I do with a draft from a trusted researcher. I rewrote it from my perspective from the Pure Land readers, edited it, found a suitable photograph on iStock, and downloaded it, ran it through 11 labs to create a recording in my cloned voice, and published the result. That took 4 or 5 hours. You can read Claude's draft here, so I published this blog post and accompanying podcast the same day as I woke up with the idea. It would have taken several the old-fashioned way. And what's left of my ego won't prevent me from saying, the result is better than if I had done it on my own. Among other things, the idea to begin with monks creating and destroying a mandala came from Claude's imagination, if AIs can be said to have one.